Hello, good evening, you guys. How is everybody doing? Oh, oof. What's this month? Oh, June. How is everybody doing? I'm gonna wait and start. I see that they're just starting to send out the notifications, so I'm gonna let you all. I'm not gonna be on long tonight. Of course, y'all know when I get on there, I don't be on. Well, I was on kind of late last night, but I kind of let Hitta run it last night because I was doing something else. Hey, Tyranny. What is going on, girl? Hey, Kenny Adams. I have not seen you in here, Kenny. I haven't seen you in here. I said he must be winning at the casino because I haven't seen him in the chat. I figured you was tearing the what they say you tearing them up down there. I need to go to the casino and win about $5 million. Child. I'm gonna start playing the lottery. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Start playing the lottery. So you going to retire? Kenny, you get ready to retire from FedEx? How many years have you been there for? Mm. You may as well just go ahead and work at FedEx and stop quitting and get your retirement and stuff in. You know you need FedEx for extra money the way you go to the casino. And they keep letting you come back. You must work in the hub on the plantation. Oh my God. Mm. I tell you. I guess I wanted to talk about just for I didn't come on today because when I got home I went to sleep and it was a much needed rest. The only thing about it is I'm gonna be wired up tonight. But I don't know about that because I'm sleepy already. I'm tired again. I probably should have made me some coffee, but I don't need none. And I probably still would have been asleep if my puppies had not started barking. Used to, used to. That's why I ain't worth the damn. Ooh, working in the hub. Lord have mercy. He said, vote Trump in 2028. I thought Trump couldn't run no more. Trump can't run again, can he? Hey, TB21. Or is it, oh, they can't run two consecutive times? Or is it 2 times? Like he can't run again after these 4 years. Can he run again? I don't think he can. I'm asking a question. Isn't that a limit? I would think that it would be 2 consecutive times, but it may be just 2 times, period. Can he run again? Dub JJ said Trump created this chaos in why do you all think that Trump is pushing pushing to I don't think he can. Let me see. I'm gonna have to look that up. Because see, I do know it's 2 terms, but I don't know if it's 2 consecutive terms. He can't. No, he can't. He can't run. He can't run anymore. He can't run for a 3rd term. So why do you all think that Trump is pushing to deport so many people? Well, he might want to run again, but I don't think he can run again, love. He can't run no more. So why do you all think that Trump is pushing to deport all of the illegal immigrants? Because I think a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. You know, I think a lot of people have mixed feelings about it now. Now I have issues with people being rounded up and not giving them the opportunity. Hush, shit, and not giving them the opportunity to show proof that that they have their card or whatever. I don't like that, but I mean, okay. I think everybody has a difference of opinion because the country is full of people darker than him. White fear. I don't think he would have to fear the Hispanics ever partnering with the blacks and taking over nothing. I mean, I don't think that would be a fear because we already know that the Hispanics is not going to what's the word that I'm looking for? The Hispanics are not going to y'all help me out. What is the word that I'm looking for? He said they're not sending European immigrants back. Hmm. Okay. I tell you. Okay, think that white people are becoming the minority. Well, his Hispanics more so identify with being white, right? I mean, even though they are black, even though their ancestors are black, they. Anyways, okay. Hey, listen, I don't have no issues with I don't have no issues with Hispanics at all. But when I hear people say they feel like that's the word I'm looking for. They feel like that Trump and white people fear that blacks and Hispanics are going to unite and take over. Ain't no Hispanics going to unite with no black people. They never have. So I don't think that's the case. Anyways, let's see, you guys. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, they're saying that Trump mobilizes Marines, escalating Los Angeles conflict. Okay, that's what MSN is saying. It says, Donald, let me see if I can find the video. Y'all hit that like button for me. Make sure you guys please like, share, and subscribe. Hold on, you all. Just give me a moment. Yeah, as I'm pulling it up, y'all hit the like button for me, okay? Okay, here it is right here.
Trump is deploying another 2,000 National Guard here to the city of Los Angeles. That would come on top of 2,000 already deployed, 300 of whom at least are already here. Some of those are actually right there behind where I'm standing here outside the federal building here with those California National Guard. As you can see the music, you can see the crowd has been building here, maybe another 100 or 200 people here just as we've been speaking in these past few moments. End of the day, work is out. We are now getting near around 5 o'clock. Congressman Adam Kinzinger joins us now, obviously former congressman, also retired lieutenant colonel with the Air National Guard, and John Miller, our chief law enforcement analyst, both with us. Congressman, may I just start with you because of this breaking news? When, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of understanding exactly what numbers Governor Newsom is putting out there, whether he's now talking about possibly 4,000 National Guard coming here to LA or not. That number would vastly exceed any number of protesters that we've seen. Some of the National Guard here already are standing behind where we are. As someone who served in the Air National Guard, how troubled are you by the use of the National Guard right now?
Kicking up the dirt as I pull up my skirt. Eeny, meeny, many more, you could be first.
Mom, I've tried everything.
Left foot, right.
Look, this is very troubling because look, what you're looking at, they have California National Guard shields, but you are not looking at California National Guard troops. You are looking at U.S. Army troops. They were activated by the President of the United States under Title 10. They are no longer National Guard. They're no different than the 82nd Airborne. They have no law enforcement capability legally. That's why they're stuck guarding federal buildings. Same with the Marines, and same with the 2,000 additional activated troops. That's now U.S. Army. There are 4,000 potentially U.S. Army troops. They're not National Guard. That's an important distinction unless the Insurrection Act is invoked or unless Gavin Newsom himself concedes to their activation. If I was the governor of California right now, I'd be activating the rest of my National Guard and challenge Trump to federalize that, because listen, there is no militia as guaranteed by the Second Amendment if in fact the president can come in and overtake the governor's authority with the militia.
John Miller, what is the latest that you are hearing from your sources about what may unfold on the ground tonight? We know that what happens tonight is obviously crucial for where this goes.
Well, I mean, what they're focused on is gathering the resources. You know, the LAPD, which is a city of 3.5 million
Okay, I'm going to look at that
TB21. It's a third larger geographically than even New York City, but it's only 8,000 cops, which is smaller than Chicago, smaller than New York. And it's about 2,000 less than the LAPD is budgeted for, but it's the number they're working with. So resources are an issue. When they get into a thing where they're having to deploy mobile field forces in the numbers of 250 or 300 officers to maintain order in the city based on what's going downtown, that means other calls aren't being answered. So what they're looking at is outreach from City Hall and their community affairs people to people within the protest groups, trying to de-escalate things that may get out of control. What they're looking at is outreach from the LAPD to their contacts within the protest groups to say, how do we keep this de-escalated? And that's Fred Booker and his team, who I have a lot of experience with in LAPD, who did that very well for years. But what they're looking for is, can we manage these protests without it going over the line? What ends up happening, and we saw this yesterday, is if the rocks and bottles start coming, if the graffiti keeps going, if windows are broken, that's where you end up declaring it under 409 Penal Code, California state law, an unlawful assembly. And then it falls to the LAPD, not the National Guard and not ICE, to disperse that crowd, which, as we saw yesterday, is a difficult task. It can get messy and it can take time.
Congressman, I will just say, to give you a chance here, when I'm looking around, I saw the man with the Mexican flag and the American flag, which was a powerful moment. But there are a lot of Mexican flags here, just Mexican flags. We can even see just a few right next to me where I am. What's the importance of that?
Look, I honestly think people should be carrying the American flag around. It's one thing if you're at a protest supporting Ukraine and defending Ukraine, even if, Palestinian flags. What this is a protest about is people wanting to be American or wanting to stay in the United States. I think the visuals of carrying that are terrible, honestly. And this is feeding right into Donald Trump's narrative. People can carry whatever flag they want. They have a right to do it. I just think it would be much stronger if they were carrying American flags only.
Breaking news here in Los Angeles. We are just watching. There are orders coming from the police saying they're going to be trying to disperse this crowd. They, about 3 minutes ago, gave them 5 minutes, so we'll see what's happening. We're seeing some people putting more masks on, worried about tear gas or something being used to deploy. We'll see what happens here in these next few moments. All eyes also on the governor of California and the president of the United States, and the long simmering feud that is now at the center of what we are seeing unfold here in Los Angeles tonight.
I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows.
That old showdown between Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom is back, and explosive as ever.
It's my job to clean up Donald Trump's mess, because he's making it by the hour.
The president and the California governor have long been tangling over immigration.
I said, look, you got to take care of this, otherwise I'm sending in the troops. That's what we did.
But their fight is escalating after Trump federalized the National Guard and mobilized Marines after violent protests in Los Angeles.
He's taken the illegal and unconstitutional act of federalizing the National Guard, and he's putting lives at risk.
It's the latest chapter in the turbulent relationship between Trump and Newsom, who have sparred over tariffs.
No state is poised to lose more than the state of California. This is recklessness at another level.
And deadly wildfires.
We're going to take care of your water situation, and we'll force it down his throat. And we'll say, Gavin, if you don't do it, we're not giving you any of that fire money that we send you all the time.
For Trump, the grievance often goes back to California itself.
If Jesus came down and was the vote counter, I would win California.
And the fact he lost the Democratic enclave by more than 20 points and millions of votes all 3 times he ran.
Objectively, California is the most un-Trump state in America, and I think that's demonstrable.
Yet beyond the resentment and anger, the two men have also shaken hands and found common cause.
We're obviously from different sides of the spectrum, but we have a very good relationship.
We played no politics during COVID with California.
Nothing but cowards.
Tonight, those pleasantries are a distant memory, with California in Trump's crosshairs again.
We did the right thing. Everybody agrees to that. But you have a governor who let the city burn down. I think Gavin, in his own way, is probably happy I got involved.
No sign of that, as Newsom sued Trump and called his actions an unmistakable step toward authoritarianism.
And as the war of words continued, Governor Newsom is saying that he believes that the White House is also considering sending 2,000 more National Guard troops. Aaron, tonight he's saying this isn't about public safety, but in his words, it's about stroking a dangerous president's ego. Aaron?
All right. Thank you very much, Jeff Zeleny. And we've just moved away from the building here as we get ready to hand it off. I'm going to be here all night. You can see behind us, they say, are some of those U.S. Marines arriving in buses right up behind us. The federal building is right over here. You can see those. We'll give you that shot, and I'll probably be up here in a few moments here. Let's hand it off now to AC-360.
Okay, they're saying that they said that the U.S. 2,000 U.S. Marines have arrived. Listen, you know, I don't know what to think as it relates to this. Hey, but we see, as Hitta made the point last night, I mean, nobody has, that I know of, has been killed. But when it comes to Black people, I think a whole lot of us would have been laid out. So, anyways, hold on. I'm looking for something else because I am becoming more and more interested in this. I'm trying to see what's really going on. 700 Marines. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm looking for the live where they're consistently showing it. Okay, Hispanics run California. That's what's going on. Hey, Miss Clarinetta. I wonder why. Okay, they're saying they'll be
just stay the hell out. And as for the President of the United States commandeering the guard over the opposition of the governor was a pointless and.
Let's do a milkshake, 2 milkshakes.
Grilled cheese, hamburger, chicken fingers.
Hey, plus size daddy.
Actually, could we get this to go, please?
He said the
Charge
moment
up to
they
178 miles in just
700
15 minutes.
Marines.
How it
That
should
was
be.
the
The
moment
Hyundai
those
Ioniq
riots
5.
and
Now,
numbers
for a
went
limited
down,
time,
at least
lease a
for the
Hyundai Ioniq
daytime.
5 for $189 a
He
month.
needs to pray that he
Visit
doesn't
your local
end
Hyundai
in
dealer
air
today.
assault.
While Republican candidate for governor Steve Hilton was downtown today with his own take.
Look, I don't know what's going to happen later on, but this is just total chaos. Graffiti everywhere. I mean, and it's all because law enforcement is trying to uphold the law. If only our leadership in California did the same, try to uphold the law.
Our coverage continues after this short break.
Politicians taking their opportunity to capitalize, those that are running off of this. Hey, but we haven't been seeing anybody get killed thus far. I don't really think that anybody will get killed. I mean, anytime you have a man that's doing road rage and doing everything he can last night to try to hit somebody, and nothing happened to him. So I don't really believe, it's gonna be anybody is gonna be killed. Okay, but now had it been some black people, okay, I think that it would have been different. But I am proud to, because I haven't seen this thus far. Hold on, here it is right here.
Starts right now.
I haven't seen a bunch of our people out there asking for food. Thank God.
With breaking news. And that breaking news, a new military response to the protests that turned violent over the weekend. 700 Marines from 29 Palms are headed to Los Angeles. Good evening once again, everybody. I'm Michael Brownlee.
And I'm Carolyn Johnson. Colleen is off tonight. Those Marines making a stop at Camp Pendleton before heading here. We do have video of them on their way. The state of California is suing the Trump administration for federalizing the National Guard. We're expecting a news conference from LA Mayor Karen Bass and LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell in about 15 minutes. We will bring that to you live once it begins.
These raids have triggered protests since Friday afternoon. We are keeping our eye on the latest ones. You're looking at downtown LA. Eliana Moreno live in News Chapter 4. Eliana.
Michael, and we're giving you the lay of the land here. We're starting with the east side of the Federal Building. This is Alameda, of course, one of the major streets here through the downtown LA area that is completely shut down from the 101 down to Temple. Lots of officers on that street. My pilot, James Pollard, is going to keep pushing along to the west so that we can show you Los Angeles Street as well. Now, Los Angeles Street at this point technically is open. However, that is where we have the heart of the demonstration taking place here on the west side of the Federal Building. We have what is likely now thousands of people on Los Angeles Street, people who are out here to show their support for the immigrants who were detained on Friday. And what we have here are people all up and down the street with their flags, with their signs. And just beyond that, we have the 101 freeway. Now, this is where we have an extremely heavy police presence. Part of their objective is just to keep people off the freeway. They have been very successful at that. The 101 freeway remains open through the area, though some of the on-ramps and off-ramps are currently blocked. Now, the law enforcement out here is a mix. We have LAPD, we have CHP, we have the National Guard that are all out here trying to just block people from advancing any further forward. And from what I'm hearing right now across the scanner, officers are trying to come up with a game plan as to how to clear people out of the area. So an unlawful assembly has been declared. So people will have some time to clear out, and then if they don't, then that is when they can be detained. But at this point, Los Angeles Street still completely blocked here through the area. That's the latest from downtown Los Angeles News Chopper 4. I'm Eliana Moreno. Back to you in the studio.
Eliana, thank you. Homeland Security officials say the ICE raids will continue.
There is, of course, tension between Governor Newsom and President Trump about using the National Guard to help carry them out. NBC4's Conan Nolan joins us now from the newsroom with much more on the new lawsuit. Conan.
That's right, a lawsuit, and particularly this latest deployment of 700 U.S. Marines from 29 Palms apparently to Camp Pendleton. The governor posting just moments ago that that's not, again, these soldiers, Marines, are not needed. He's posting that of the 2,000 that were already deployed by the president, only 300 have actually been on the street. The rest of those soldiers have been inside federal buildings waiting for orders. President Donald Trump this afternoon at an event designed to highlight his budget bill, pivoting quickly to the ongoing dispute with California Governor Gavin Newsom over the president's rare and controversial federalizing of the California National Guard, something Mr. Trump said 4 years ago in a town hall that he is not authorized to do as president.
You said, quote, "We have to go by the laws. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor." What changed now? Why is this situation different to not consult with Governor Newsom about this?
Well, the biggest change from that statement is we have an incompetent governor.
The president saying conditions had clearly deteriorated in parts of LA's Civic Center, that help was needed.
It's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much.
Nevertheless, the president appears to have ratcheted up the federal response with the activation of 700 U.S. Marines out of the 29 Palms Marine Corps base in San Bernardino County. The move, an apparent response to a lawsuit filed by the state of California, arguing Mr. Trump violated the Constitution by deploying the military without a request from the governor, that the legal standard for the president to act on his own did not exist. California Attorney General Rob Bonta.
No doubt there's no rebellion, there's no invasion, there is no inability for the president with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. So we just think you apply the clear, unambiguous reading of the statute. We don't think this is a very close case at all.
Not so fast, says Professor Jessica Levinson of Loyola Law School.
We're looking at a federal statute that is a broad grant for the President of the United States. Judges, particularly unelected judges, tend not to like to substitute their own judgment on issues of national security for the judgment of the President of the United States.
Governor Newsom, meanwhile, again criticizing the federal call-out, posting on X that only 300 soldiers of the initial 2,000 are actually deployed, writing that the rest are sitting inside federal buildings with no orders, adding, "This is reckless, pointless, and disrespectful to our troops." Once again, any kind of National Guard deployment, those of soldiers play a secondary role. They do not engage in arrests. That is for the civilian law enforcement agencies to conduct. Their backup or to protect federal buildings. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News.
All right, Conan, thank you. And it is now day 4 of protests in Los Angeles. Since mid-afternoon, we've been watching a demonstration in downtown LA in front of the Roybal Federal Building. Just moments ago, law enforcement called for that group to immediately clear out. Our Karma Dickerson on the ground with how the crowd is responding. Karma.
So far, some members of the crowd have started to move out, but many people are still here. Now, to give you some perspective, this is the same area that Eliana was showing us from above, and this is what it looks like here on the ground. We have at least hundreds of people still facing off with federal officers as they're right in front of the federal building right there. National Guard officers that are in uniform there, and also some federal officers. Down on the ground, we've seen all kinds of protesters. They've been yelling things. They have been chanting normal things that you would see at a rally or a protest. For the most part, we haven't seen any confrontations, but there have been some tense moments. And one thing to note, in terms of crowd control, the crowd has done a lot to control itself. There was one incident, and this is why you might have noticed we moved our position. One incident where a person in the crowd had a paintball gun and looked like they were about to shoot that gun towards the federal building. The crowd saw him and they said, "No way, that's going to cause a lot of issues here. We don't want that kind of energy." And they kind of shouted that person down and moved that person out of the area. So people recognize, how precarious the situation is and how tight tensions are and how things can turn so quickly. Now, we did hear an announcement about 5 minutes ago telling people that they needed to clear the area. We haven't seen any effort to physically clear people, but just a warning that it's time to go. We want to show you some video from earlier because these protests have been happening over the course of the day. This was Grand Park. People were rallying, calling for the release of David Huerta. That was the labor leader that was detained as a result of some of these protests. There was a big group of big labor movement and members of the community wanting to come out and show their support. Here's what some of them had to tell us.
The lies, hauling people away, making people disappear. If it can happen to them, it can happen to you, it can happen to me.
Immense and beautiful to see our Los Angeles come together, the union laborers come together, organizations come together, and believe that it should be a change.
Also, there's power in community and there's power in people. As long as we stick together, we're going to be okay and we're going to win.
Worth noting, that was when things, when it was earlier in the day, things were notably calmer than they were today. We certainly weren't standing at the scene of a tense face-off like the one we have right here. Over the last couple of seconds, we've seen crowds starting to move in either direction. It's unclear why exactly they're moving so quickly, but we are being very vigilant to try to see what's leading people in different directions. But again, to be clear, police have said it is time to clear this area. And so people coming through this area at Los Angeles and Temple Street should be aware of that. Reporting live downtown, I'm Karma Dickerson, NBC4 News.
Karma, thank you. Some parts of downtown Los Angeles damaged yesterday as some demonstrators set cars on fire, threw rocks and bottles, and sprayed graffiti.
NBC4's Alex Rozier joins us now from downtown with today's cleanup efforts. Alex.
As Karma noted, there are a lot of moving parts downtown Los Angeles right now. We have seen the crowds get significantly bigger in the last couple of hours, but we have seen mostly peaceful protests, but there have been incidents of vandalism and destruction. And that's why there were some crews out here clearing some of the graffiti from this weekend's protests. And that's just a small part of what I witnessed here today. John Perez stood with his American flag on a street corner, emotional as he looked at the vandalism from this weekend's protest downtown Los Angeles.
I'm very hurt by it. And I know that the overwhelming majority of Angelenos don't want this. And I know the anger of the crowd on the streets, but that's not going to solve anything.
Today, crews cleared 5 burned-up Waymos that caught fire on Los Angeles Street near the 101. Closer to the Federal Building and City Hall, several walls were covered in graffiti. Many messages expressing opposition to the ongoing immigration raids.
It's definitely surreal walking around, and everywhere you look there's graffiti. There's expletives about the president.
By the afternoon, crews worked to cover some of the graffiti, and Tony was among the people looking on.
There's a message behind it. I feel like the people are angry, and hopefully they just don't go any further with this. I haven't faced any deportation myself, but separation from family hurts a lot. So you can imagine the frustration that is being built up on millions of people. My city feels like a war zone, man.
But people like John Perez still wanted to come out to see it because he said he couldn't stay home anymore.
And I'm just here to represent the side of peace and tell everybody to pull back a little bit and reassess why are they doing this? How is this helping anybody other than destroying the most beautiful part of downtown Los Angeles? I've been in this city 50 years and I've seen it burn before, and this is one of the worst times in our history, I think.
And as we bring you back out live here talking about some of the vandalism over the past weekend, the tensions have escalated once again tonight. We are on Los Angeles Street as you look live at the intersection of Los Angeles and Aliso. In the last hour, the law enforcement presence has picked up here with large numbers of sheriff's deputies that have also come in to assist. But this line of police that you're looking at is LAPD. And if we look down this way, we'll show you some of the protesters that are on the opposite side of this police line. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on this. As Karma noted, someone has come over the loudspeaker, giving them a few minutes to disperse. Since that message has come across, no one has moved anywhere. So right now, we're going to keep an eye on this face-off between police and protesters and see what happens. Michael and Carolyn will send it back into you.
Okay, all right. Alex, thank you for that. And we were just listening in as the mayor of Huntington Park addressed an immigration raid this morning at a Home Depot on Slauson Avenue. And while he doesn't have much specifics, he did emphasize these federal operations are expected to continue in LA County for the next 30 days.
The Trump administration's immigration policy was centered around public safety. The actions that we're seeing take place not only in Los Angeles, but throughout the region are counterintuitive to that narrative. What we're seeing is the arbitrary enforcement of anybody that essentially looks or might be Latino in areas where they might be trying to find work or employment.
Both Mayor Bass and LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell are expected to hold a news conference just about 5 minutes from now. Be sure to stay with us for the ongoing ICE protests and unrest in and around LA. We also have continuing coverage for you with a special section dedicated to immigration right now on our website, nbcla.com or the NBC.
Okay. Their protests and what they're doing, it looks a lot different than how we do it. Hold on, you guys. Hold on, you guys. Let me see something. Okay, I found one. This is live right now. That's live. Right now it doesn't have any. You all make sure y'all hit the like button. We only have 30 likes. It's 66 people in here, so please do hit the like button for me, okay? Please do hit the like button. Make sure you guys please like, share, and subscribe, but do hit the like button. I don't know why there is not a sound, but it's showing what's going on right now out in Los Angeles. Like I said, it's interesting to me. But I am happy that I don't see a lot of Black people out there acting a fool, okay? For the most part, I have to say that when it comes to us, unless there is an agenda, other people don't get into our issues. If there's an agenda, they may get into it to help to make it more violent, okay? To really egg on some stuff because we're emotional. We start going to jail. Then the lawyers make money. And other things, okay? Crime pays. So, but I don't really see that with the Hispanics. I did see that they were trying to set some stuff on fire, which is bad enough, right? But other than that, I don't really see any other people getting into our debacles or injustices or nothing like that. So, hey, I guess as far as the Hispanics are concerned, I'm glad to see them. I guess they come, but they always stick together. That's one thing that you can't take from the Hispanic community. They have that spirit of their ancestors, which is the slaves, okay? They stick together, although they don't want to be in the Black community. That's exactly where they came from. Okay. So they still have that spirit of the slave. Unfortunately for a lot of African Americans, they really did a number on us. You talk about that Willie Lynch syndrome. Like, they did a really good job of separating us within our community and making us hate what we see, when we look in the mirror. So we really don't know how to come together on one accord, right? Hey, we keep daggers out. We do. We keep daggers out, trying to consistently clip and cut at each other. And I think a community that God has blessed with all types of talents. If I had to say, the majority of the talent comes from the Black community. I think other communities they're crafty. They know how to take our talent and get rich off of it and leave us broke, busted, and disgusted, right? But
Booth, you calling Air 7?
okay, look like they're trying to talk now. But
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Okay, they said I don't know, it said 3 minutes or something. But hey, they stick together. It looks like they're all on one accord. You don't see any looting or anything like that. Maybe we should take a page from that. It seems to me that's how Dr. King and them back in the 60s was able to get some things.
Jeez, that's show me the group up top.
Yeah.
Push in there. Yep.
Okay, so
100 there, 200 the other.
It doesn't. It when if they boycott,
I'd say about 300 people.
Like they're not boycotting stores or anything like that, because Latinos, they open up their own grocery stores and stuff, and they shop with each other. They don't,
Hey, Mark.
So it's not going to affect the economy. So if they say we're going to pull back our money,
how you doing?
It ain't nothing to pull back. They don't put any
you,
money
sir.
into other communities.
Appreciate that.
They build up their own community. So I mean, and I'm not mad about that. Hey.
This is pretty much it. You've got about 100 people right here at the skirmish line, and then about 200 people in that little street takeover at 2nd and San Pedro.
Hey, and that's what they're supposed
nothing
to do.
too crazy, but still too many for my liking.
Hey, Pimp Out Rides.
You got it.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. Hey, I'll use this company to come in and organize for me because I'm moving. And I have a lot of clothes and shoes and stuff. And I went and bought a lot of totes. And when they came into, when they came in, they've had to come in twice. They work for their aunts. They don't speak a bit of English. So they had to translate through their phone whenever they wanted to talk to me. She was speaking her phone, and then I had to read whatever it was that she was saying, and then when I spoke, I had to do the same thing and translate to them. They came in. I got so much stuff and I wanted it a certain way. I had to translate to them exactly how I wanted it, right? Because I was like, dog, if I'm gonna pay them $500, I want everything color coded. I told them what I wanted, how I wanted it, and those girls came in. It was 2 of them this past Saturday. Came in one time before, prepped everything. They came back. And they color coded everything, like the shoes. It took them 9 hours.
That's right, Mark. After a day-long protest in front of the federal building here in downtown Los Angeles, at times upwards of about 1,000 strong, that dispersal order was eventually given. Most people have gone home, but we have a group of about 300 remaining protesters at the intersection of 2nd and...
Warm welcome to the program. I'm Sally Bundock. California's governor says an additional 2,000 National Guard troops are being sent to Los Angeles as protests over immigration enforcement continues. Gavin Newsom said only about 300 of an earlier deployment of 2,000 are currently being used, leaving others in federal buildings without orders. The announcement comes just hours after President Trump sent 700 Marines will be deployed to help protect federal agents and buildings. The governor said the Marines were fulfilling the deranged fantasy of a dictatorial president. Protests broke out on Friday after agents from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, carried out immigration raids in the city. Well, let's cross live now to L.A. and speak to our correspondent, Carl Nassman. Good evening to you, Carl. So what is the scene like now?
Yeah, good evening. We're here in Little Tokyo. That's an area of downtown Los Angeles, and this is one of those pockets of demonstrators that is still remaining tonight, even after nightfall. There's about, we believe, maybe hundreds, even up to 1,000 people still here. This has now been declared an unlawful assembly, so what we're seeing now is police mobilizing, and it looks like they're going to be working to clear this area. You can see behind me, actually, just the sheer amount of lights there, of vehicles. You get a sense of the mobilization that we're seeing from local authorities here. It's important to point out, this isn't National Guard, this isn't the Marines, these are all local authorities. We have California Highway Patrol vehicles here in the distance. Interestingly, we've also seen authorities from a couple of different nearby counties, and there was a call put out for help by local authorities here, Los Angeles County, asking the regional counties to provide resources. And today is really the first time that we've seen some of those neighboring counties coming in and being active and really participating in some of these actions that we're seeing on the streets of Los Angeles tonight. I want to walk you this way, and you can just get a sense in the distance down the street here. That is where that large gathering of protesters is still remaining tonight. We were walking along earlier as block by block and street by street, the police were attempting to clear the protests, which began, of course, in front of the federal building here in Los Angeles. That's been one of the really flashpoints and nexus for these protests over the past 4 days or so. They were able to do that with the help, we should say, of some non-lethal weapons, things like flash grenades, but it was nowhere near the scenes that we saw last night, Sally. But of course, as I say that, we get a big bang, and if you look over here, actually, that's a bit of fireworks going off. Those are being fired by a group of I don't want to use the word demonstrators, because at this point in the night, Sally, a lot of what's left on the streets, there are, of course, some people that really feel passionately about this issue. But as we saw last night, it's really agitators who are out this late here. We're just past 9 p.m. in Los Angeles. These are the types of people that the officers are worried about having out here, because we did see some looting last night. We saw fires set in some of the dumpsters here. What these officers are going to work to do is to try to clear these types of people off the streets. We didn't personally witness that many arrests being made earlier in the day, but the feeling is now, given this kind of activity, we could see more arrests in the really hours or minutes to come.
And Carl, if you describe the mood among those who are demonstrating, because of course Gavin Newsom is becoming even more vitriolic about President Trump and his actions in deploying even more National Guard and now Marines as well, that this really is not required, that actually the local authorities have got this very much under control.
Yeah, at the same time that we're seeing these protests, we're also seeing that war of words playing out. Sometimes it's on social media, sometimes this is via statements to the media or interviews between officials in California and the White House. President Trump and the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, have been speaking out defending these actions, saying that it's necessary to bring in these higher level of authorities, National Guard, active duty members of the military to Los Angeles. They say that the situation is out of control. And on the other hand, what you hear from local officials is that they have this under control. They never, of course, asked for these resources to be deployed here. The chief of the Los Angeles Police Department actually said that this adds to so many logistical and communications issues that naturally come with having so many different groups of authorities in one place. But you asked about those demonstrators, and what we can hear from the chants right now, they're chanting peaceful protests. So what still a lot of people out here are saying is, they're exercising their First Amendment rights to free speech, freedom of assembly, that they want to be out here protesting the immigration raids that we've seen in this city. There were several more today, in fact, Sally, and they're also saying that they're protesting what the president's
more
doing.
interested.
But at the same time,
just
given that this has now been declared an unlawful assembly, anybody that's currently in the streets is subject to arrest. And what the authorities here are obviously going to argue is that they're on the verge of seeing some similar scenes last night playing out. Vandalism, really some volatility in the streets, and that's not what they want to see, especially when you look at just the war of words and images coming out of Republicans and allies of President Trump painting this as something very out of control, as the city being taken over by these protests, where on the other side, you have officials here saying, these are pockets, and that's what we were witnessing here, pockets of demonstrations. Los Angeles is a big city. It certainly isn't being taken over by demonstrators or protests.
Okay, for now, thank you, Carl. We'll speak to you again later, Carl Nasman there, who is in Los Angeles for us. And as you can see here, this is police now who are surrounding this truck. Of course, as Carl said, it's now just after 9 p.m. there in Los Angeles. And as the night draws in, of course, there is concern that what could happen as most demonstrators do go home and the evening draws in. So we should keep a close eye on what's going on in LA. We have a live page as well, which is updating all the time on the latest developments. So that is the very latest from Los Angeles.
I think it's not any violence because you have like leaders within their community that's ready to willing and ready to be proactive as far as filing. They're already filing lawsuits and they probably know how to fight. Because anytime something going on in the Black community, we have the same people get in front of the camera that has been getting in front of the camera for years that nobody takes seriously, like the Al Sharptons and stuff. Only come around when it's a media frenzy. I hit the like button. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Exposing the truth. Lord have mercy. So is LAPD doing anything? Or they said they're going to stay out of it? Hmm. It said the early video feed was more active. Well, a lot of people have left and probably gone home to rest or whatever. But hey, like I said, I'm interested in seeing what the end result is going to be. I haven't been on consistently in a while. Are you leaving Tennessee? Yes. Yes, I'm leaving Tennessee. You all make sure y'all hit the like button. Okay, please like, share, and subscribe. ZK says she's leaving too. You're interested in the end result. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing what the end result is. I have not been in an uproar because I'm mellowed out. I want to see what the end result is. So it looks like they're just standing out there right now. Yeah, it looks like they're just standing around. It looks like they're just standing around. Hey, listen, I don't like to see injustice for anyone, but especially if they've gone through the proper channels necessary and is it properly in the United States, right? But like something like one of the reporters just said, they're not holding up the American flag. They're holding up the Mexican flag. So you're fighting to be in the United States, but you're holding up a flag in another country. So maybe you need to go to that country. So I think with a lot of foreigners, they don't even like Americans. But they definitely come to the United States to capitalize. And hey, I'm not mad, because once they get here, they stick together, build together, start businesses. Then oftentimes, once they get rich off of the American people, and they usually get rich off of posting up in the Black communities, because I do see now a lot of Hispanics are starting to buy beauty supply stores from the Asians. Now, there was an issue with Asians even selling stores to Black people, but they're definitely selling their stores and stuff to Hispanics. So I get to thinking about it. It seems like Trump is on top of it, on top of trying to get them deported. I don't look at what a person does. I do look at what they do, but I more so like to get to the root of why they're doing it. That's more interesting to me than anything. I don't mean no harm, but I don't think it's a good idea for them to be owning all those gas stations with gas. I just don't think it's a good idea. So, anyways, like I said, I don't want to see anybody mistreated. I don't care if they're illegal or not. If they're not doing anything, I definitely don't want to see people mistreated. I don't like seeing kids separated from their parents. He said they're not fighting for equality. They're fighting because they don't want to leave. He said they broke the law when they came over illegal. You all make sure y'all hit the like button for me. Make sure you guys make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Anyways, you guys, I'm tired. I know I said I took a nap when I got home, but I'm tired again. So I'm ready to get back in the bed. But I appreciate you all tuning in tonight. I'm gonna try to get up early enough before I get out. I get out and go to work tomorrow to do a video about something that I was reading about tonight. I was supposed to do some commentating on Gotti and Glorilla. I'll just do a live on it tomorrow or something when I get home. But anyways, you guys, listen. What's up, OG Snake Spotter? Hey, Joy Loves God. Listen, I'm gonna try to do a video in the morning and do a pre-recorded video and upload it before I go to work. I have enjoyed being here with you all. My body is tired. I got to give it some more rest, okay? I love you guys. Y'all have a good night.